Hello and welcome back to Legend of the GLORIO Heroes, where Gee and Iro discuss the latest and greatest legendary 1988 OVA. As always, I'm your host Gee, and with me to sail amongst the sea of stars is none other than Iro.
Hi, I'm still here,
Somehow,
possible ear infection won't keep me away from the stars.
No, neither rain nor snow nor sleet nor ear infections or whatever is going on in our lives
The
will stop
Iserlohn
us
Fortress.
No, the Iserlohn Fortress, or I think you mean the, Damn, sorry, dude, I already forgot your name. Oh, well. You know, the admiral who led Geiersburg. Kempf, there we
Mueller
go.
Corridor.
Yes, the Kempf-Mueller Corridor. Sorry, Kempf, real bad show on my part. Look, we don't have much reason to invoke your name these days. You know,
His children swore vengeance upon Yang Wen-li.
Yes, the Kempf family is survived by his lovely wife and beautiful children. But yeah, so we're just gonna, as always, talk about Legend of the Galactic Heroes, 3 episodes at a time.
Yeah.
Before we get,
go ahead. Yeah.
I was gonna say, but before we get into that, we just want to briefly give a shout out to the dearly departed Kinryuu Arimoto, who just passed away recently, as of the time of this recording. Not to make light of his passing, but as we always joke that any anime voice actor of a certain age, at this point probably played some role in Legend of the Galactic Heroes just due to the sheer breadth of its cast. And
we done looked it up.
Yeah, lo and behold, we found out that Mr. Arimoto had played Von Shaft.
Yeah.
The engineer, the architect of the Geiersburg plot.
Yeah. His giant mustache.
Yes. So rest in peace. But as we move on, we're going to be talking about episodes 42, 43, and 44 this week.
Episode 42, Invitation to a Requiem. Episode 43, Gjallarhorn's Roar. And episode 44, Phezzan Occupied.
Yes, as one often might say, this is an interesting trio of episodes. Maybe not as dense as last week's trio, but still definitely worth talking about.
Kind of getting into I feel like it's been set up for a long time now, and we're getting into we're starting to get into climax or stuff starting to happen, which in a way means there's less to talk about.
Well, it's more that because of all the setup that has been established, now we're just in the same way that it's kind of, in the same way that like a roller coaster is, slowly, ratcheting itself up to the top of the slope, right? Like we've been building up all this potential energy, all these plot lines, all these characters, all this intrigue. And now it's about to come screaming down at 1,000,000 miles per hour.
Indeed.
And, woe betide to anybody who happens to be caught in its way. But so let's just get right into it because, some fun stuff happening this week, or these 3 episodes.
And we start episode 42 with just Julian dreaming about making sure he gets up on time to make breakfast for Admiral Yang Wen-li.
Yes, it's very good. You kind of almost get that feeling, despite Julian's age, that feeling of like, oh, what is a person who is not of a recent retiree?
He's got empty nest syndrome.
right, empty nest syndrome, or or somebody who's recently retired from a job they've had all their life, and they don't know what to do anymore now that they don't have to wake up at 7 or 6:30 or whatever, every day.
Mm-hmm.
Like what is a life for Julian Mincy that does not involve taking care of Yang Wen-li?
Yeah. Full flashback and everything to him waking up Yang, and Yang saying that it doesn't matter if future historians mock me, they're not even born yet.
Yes.
And at least there's galactic peace in my dreams.
Yeah. Just as always,
the troops will be mad if I get up too early.
Right, yes. Just as always, all these great little again, as always, the back and forth amongst the FPA crew is just always a ton of fun.
Yeah.
All of this shade just dropped on Yang's head. Just It's so good. It's so good. And we got a little bit here where Frederica finally, I guess, is this the first time she's vocally admitted that she's in love with Yang? I mean, I think we've all seen the writing on the wall.
Yeah, I think so.
It's the first time she admits it.
I mean, everybody knows it.
Yeah, everybody but Yang Wen-li knows it. Yes, but like, as much as we joke about Julian being like the harem protagonist of his own story, I feel like, for better or worse, Julian's too competent. He's too self-aware. Like,
too powerful.
Like Julian would, like Julian would know somebody was hitting on him. On the other hand, I think it's Yang is actually the one who is the hapless romance protagonist, who's like, Frederica likes me.
I didn't know stumbled into the bath while they were all here.
Exactly. Like,
as much as I was too drunk from drinking all this brandy.
Well, I think it's more just like, as much as I dislike those tropes, Yang is believably enough of a doofus in like all things unrelated to tactics, that like he is totally the dude who would be like, I'm busy staring at this report, this clipboard I have. Oops, I walked into the girls' changing room or something.
I was too busy going over my tactical plan.
Yeah, or like Frederica would finally confess to Yang Wen-li, and Yang Wen-li, being the idiot love protagonist he is, would be like, what? Oh, sorry, Frederica, did you say something? I was too busy reading this history book or something, or I'm too busy thinking about Reinhard von Lohengrin.
He'd fallen asleep because he's too tired.
Yeah, exactly. And like, everybody would know, but like Schenkopp would be like, can't you tell that Frederica's got feelings for you? And Yang would be like, what? Don't be ridiculous. That would never, ever happen in a million years.
Not for a guy like me.
Not for a guy like me.
All I do is drink tea.
Tea, quote-unquote tea, yes.
You saw that episode of Grand Blue.
Yeah.
9 parts vodka, 1 pour whiskey. It looks just like tea.
Same color as tea.
Yeah.
I wonder what Yang's college days look like. Maybe we'll see that in Legend of the... Maybe we'll see that when we start our second podcast, or third podcast, Legend of the GLORIO Heroes Gaiden.
Yeah, maybe.
The Gaiden series. See what the hell Yang was getting up to. I feel like, as much as we joke, though, I feel like Yang was probably like a sad drunk in college who probably drank by himself. But
drank with Lap, right?
With Lap. Yeah, right. Lap was a character. Remember him?
Well, Dusty Attenborough. Buddies with Dusty Attenborough, right?
I think he didn't meet Dusty until the movie, right?
I couldn't even tell you.
Yeah, sorry, we don't. Okay, well, I'm sure some commenter will hopefully explain to us the Dusty timeline, because my rough understanding is that Dusty's usage, or the way Dusty is featured in the OVA, is slightly different from the books.
Yeah, although Dusty did, when he gave his good luck charm to Julian the other day, he told a story about how they met in military academy, right?
Oh yeah, I guess he did. Yeah, good eye on you then for remembering that. But
Julian and Mashengo are heading to Phezzan.
Yes,
meeting with their superiors.
Yes, with their shitty, incompetent superiors, and
fat guy with a giant mustache.
Yeah, and we have some good, classic Julian, like, always secretly being like maybe the smartest, most competent person in the room. We have Julian going clothes shopping. We have Julian like spying on cats and like being able to figure out that like Phezzan, like, no matter what, even if like maybe people at Phezzan are trying to obscure things from Julian, like, he's pretty canny. Like, things are pretty good at Phezzan. Like,
some girls hit on him.
Yeah. And look, it's like they say when Julian attends that like reception later in the day.
People just like talking to him, right?
Sorry, what?
People like talking to him, right?
Like, not only do people like talking to Julian, but like, he naturally is good at like drawing attention to him, but like in a good way. Unlike Yang Wen-li, who seems to draw attention in the worst way possible.
Persona protagonist Julian.
Yeah, but I think it's just, I kind of love the aspect of like one of the guys at Phezzan's like, from pretty girls to planetary organization systems. If you want it, Phezzan has got it.
All right.
Julian plays it off pretty well, but we begin to see that Julian is pretty good. Unlike Yang Wen-li, is also pretty good at playing the politics game. He he starts saying some stuff, some maybe purposely inflammatory stuff, but he says it in a way he delivers it in a way where
Yang would never say it in this way. Like Yang probably wouldn't even say it at all.
Well, Yang would say it, and everybody would get mad at him and kick him out of the party. But Julian, for some reason, is able to deliver it in a way where the Phezzani politicians are either able to laugh it off or just be like, no, don't worry, it's definitely not like that.
Kid, your crazy ideas.
Yeah. Julian basically says, "Hey, why?" But yes, Julian essentially says, "Well, why couldn't the Empire invade through the Phezzan corridor? If it's a law, if the only thing stopping them from invading the Phezzan corridor is a written law, a written law that was made by a human being, then that's a law that people can also easily unmake."
Yep.
And kind of does this to kind of get Rupert's attention.
Yeah.
Which I think, again, pretty canny on Julian's part.
But before they can really get at it, commanding officer guy,
was his name Viola, I think,
something like that. Pulls him off. But hey,
as shitty FPA people tend to do, yes.
Yes, and it also means Rupert goes to report back to Agent Rubinsky, who still doesn't think it's that big of a deal.
Right, I kind of do love this aspect of Rupert is kind of we should keep an eye on this Julian kid. He is Yang's protege. That's nobody to sneeze at.
Mm-hmm.
And Rubinsky, so here's the thing. Before these 3 episodes, I would have said that Rubinsky casually dismissing Julian was in and of itself an act. He was playing it up, but he was actually paying attention to Julian. After these 3 episodes, I begin to question actually how smart Rubinsky is. I feel like Rubinsky is maybe not as canny as he initially seemed in earlier episodes, but then again, considering what he does to Rupert in the next couple of episodes, maybe he actually is as smart as he seems.
Yeah, maybe.
But anyways,
I could also just see it being he is smart, but also even he can overlook things,
True. Right. He is not immutable.
Not infallible.
But yeah, so we kind of get this good bit where Rupert, goes off to his secret lair, where we find out he's got Earth Cult Bishop Degsby basically locked in a basement full of alcohol and drugs.
Right. He's oh, well, how, I don't know what they would think. How would His Holiness, what would he think about your extreme conduct?
Yeah, and Degsby rightfully points out, no,
you made me pick all these drugs, asshole.
Right, I never had any secret vices. You're the one who forced this stuff on me. Which I kind of think is really great in a weird way. Not that I have any sympathy for the Earth Cult, but I find it very funny that Rupert is no, everybody's got dirt on them. Everybody has a secret.
Even if that dirt is thrown on them.
Right. Even if that dirt is literally shot into their veins. Which I thought was a kind of fucked up thing to do, but
it's just the way the Phezzan does things, right?
Yeah. But I do kind of love that despite being hopped up on drugs and booze, Degsby is still no, I'm not going to play your game. And Rupert's well, I try to do this.
Strike me down.
I guess I'm just going to blackmail you instead.
The true fucking, the real way Phezzan does things.
Right, yes.
Phezzan. I can't break your ideology of Earth Cult or whatever. How would I just fucking blackmail you?
Right, I was going to say Phezzan are truly masters of the art of the deal, so to speak. Just...
Yeah.
They certainly have a way...
Can't get them to join you, you just beat them down, I guess.
Right, just break them down until they're malleable. But,
in regards to blackmail, Rupert says it's an antiquated method, but it's frequently used because it's effective.
Indeed.
It just seems antiquated because it's frequently used.
Rupert.
Perfect.
There are a lot of things I would have loved to see you do in this show, but
yeah.
We'll get to that. So we switch back to the old Empire because Reinhard is assigning all of his best admirals for Operation Ragnarok.
Yeah.
Now we find out that Reuenthal is tasked with taking on Iserlohn. Meanwhile, Mittermeyer is going to be assigned to go through the Phezzan corridor.
Mm-hmm.
And then even in the case of Phezzan trying to seal them in, we have a second pincer attack with the 4th and 5th Fleet, because we're going to have Mecklinger and Kessler staying behind at Odin.
And various other admirals are also being assigned to these fleets.
Oh, yes. I'm just mentioning the admirals I can remember the names of, not freaking fucking Lutz or Wallen or freaking all these other dudes.
Yeah, I just pulled up a screenshot with 5 names on it, and I don't remember any of these people.
Yeah, sorry, dude.
Mueller is assigned to go with Mittermeyer.
Yes. Mueller is with Mittermeyer, kind of a... Wait, is he?
Yeah.
I thought they specifically wanted Mueller to not... I thought they specifically didn't want Mueller to go with Mittermeyer because Reinhard had this idea that
they didn't want him to go with Reuenthal because he had sworn vengeance upon Yang Wenli.
Oh yeah. My bad. I got him mixed up. For some reason, I thought Mittermeyer was going. For a brief second in my head, I thought Mittermeyer was going after Iserlohn. Yes, other way around. He's going with Mittermeyer because Reinhard knows that Mueller's got like a personal emotional stake in taking on Yang Wenli, and like as we see, even with old Reuenthal himself, Reinhard's admirals are still human. And quite fallible to their own personal vices and shortcomings. So
we also get some official acknowledgement of Hilda's role as Reinhard's secretary, basically, that they have legally decided to treat her as holding the rank of commander.
Right, which I think is an interesting move that I'm curious if that will ever come into play, because before, when we were talking about it, we talked about how Hilda had soft power. Mm-hmm. She had the ability to influence and coerce, but she could not actually pull rank. Now she kind of can, and I wonder if there's an aspect of Oberstein kind of like off in the corner, like grumbling to himself about this development, because now...
On the other hand, now he can say... But now he can say, now he can say, like, don't listen to someone of a rank such as that, or whatever.
Right.
Granted, I don't know where Commander is up the fucking chain, but...
Sure, true. I guess I had it in my head that it's more like, before being given, like, a pseudo-official rank...
She was just a civilian.
Right. Hilda is technically just a civilian. Like, Oberstein could easily just pull a, like... You're a civilian, and by law, you have no right to be here, or something. I don't think he ever would.
But now she's officially,
she's
officially. Yeah,
I mean, she's at least of comparable rank. Like, she's not going to walk around like ordering Reuenthal and Mittermeyer what to do, but it's more like they can no longer just easily brush her aside, I think. Mm-hmm. So, wonder how that will come into play. But otherwise, So they with the plan figured out. They then purposely leak the Iserlohn part of the plan to the FPA.
Yep.
And
you are like, it's fine because we have Iserlohn Fortress.
Right. Of course, the freaking entire FPA leadership falls for it other than Bucock, which is just so dang frustrating. Like, how can none of you possibly see this coming? It's just...
Yeah, I mean, Bucock's like the only old guard left in the military at this point. Right.
Yeah. The other admiral who got shot by Fork is being like retired.
Yeah, Dawson's already in this room.
Dawson's in power now. It's like I'm not even sure how Bucock's hanging in there. Like I feel like they would have like forcibly retired him by now.
Tenure, I don't know.
Yeah, or maybe it's just that Bucock's just too damn stubborn to go, unlike the rest of them. Like sometimes I think for better or worse, like I don't hold it against him. But I do sometimes think back to Siddeley, like
who just got out when he could.
And I don't think even if Siddeley was stubborn enough to stick around, I don't think he could have stayed around, because like he would have eventually been blamed for armlets, or he would have been blamed for like eventually he would have been the fall guy.
Wonder what Siddeley's up to these days.
Yeah. So in ways, I wonder if actually Siddeley was the smartest of them all to be like, dude, the FPA is fucked. Like,
I'm out of here.
I can't fix this. But I hope he's I hope he's enjoying a peaceful retirement. I'll just say that much.
Yeah, I hope so.
Beekeeping or whatever it is he's doing.
That's right.
Right. I don't even remember where the beekeeping joke came from, but just
that it was said at some point.
Right. I just think someone at some point mentioned the prospect of it, which is very funny to me. But yeah, so then we finally get to Yang Wenli still at Iserlohn.
Making plans for the attack.
Yes. He has here, I've written my notes, Yang has a simple but effective plan.
I think it's just...
sorry, go ahead.
I think it's literally just like send some people out beforehand and then pincer them between our fleet and Iserlohn.
Yeah, basically. Which, like again, it's an effective plan, but I think a guy like Kempf might have fallen for it. I think Reuenthal, as we see, is a little smarter than that.
He falls for other tricks.
But don't worry, Reuenthal is still enough of an idiot to fall for other tricks. Some very some real basic ass tricks that you think.
Yeah.
Man, forget whatever. We'll don't worry. We'll get to episode 43 in just a moment. All we have left here is we move on to a recon ship that's kind of out away from Iserlohn, and
they're just talking shit about their captain. Just
talking shit about their captain to his face, basically. Like he's just standing there.
They're all joking around.
Yeah. But then they get the signature ping that, oh shit, there's 50,000 ships coming our way.
Oh, oops.
And I love this bit here. I love this captain because the troops, the guy's like, what do we do, captain? Do we fight him? And the captain just is like, no. Do you know why this ship is undefeated? We're undefeated because we don't fight battles we have no chances of winning.
Let's fucking run.
They fucking bail.
Idiots.
Right, which I think is very good. I'm glad not everybody in the FPA is a suicidal dumbass.
Yeah.
And then we finally end with Yang just kind of musing that, in a ways, the guys behind us are more dangerous than the ones in front of us, which sure is a statement on the condition of the FPA these days.
Yeah. Thanks, Yang.
And I think he's like, hey, Frederica, send a message to the FPA head that the Empire's here.
Defenses on Phezzan, right?
Right. Please, yes, please, type in bold. I think they're going to go for Phezzan. I know it won't work. I know it doesn't matter, but I have to try anyways.
Yeah. And it brings up the question of if, as long as Yang's here on Iserlohn, they're fine, but they might order him to leave Iserlohn when are inevitably attacks from the other side.
Right, and then that's an equally dangerous position because A, you're abandoning Iserlohn, B, I don't think Yang's actual physical fleet is that large. Because the implication seems to be that the FPA is happy to hamstring Yang to the point where he's just barely in good enough condition to fight most of the time. Because again, being the idiots they are, keep thinking Yang Wenli is eventually gonna throw a coup or something.
Yeah, but yeah. So basically, the only option to him right now is do support Iserlohn, because even if they're attacking Phezzan, there's nothing he can do about it right now. It's just do what he's got to do.
Indeed. And do what he's got to do, he does indeed in episode 43.
Operation Ragnarok has begun in earnest.
Yes. We start off with, both sides. We're talking about Reuenthal's fleet and Yang's Iserlohn kind of just trading shots with each other for a bit.
Yeah.
Then we have Reuenthal musing about how he's going to have to rely on a rather gaudy plan, which I think is a great choice of words because I wonder what Reuenthal considers gaudy. And turns out what he considers gaudy is sending Lutz out to get their attention, and kind of like the Gettysburg fight, kind of a fun back and forth here. We have Yang sending out Edwin, Fisher, and Dusty to kind of protect or kind of to probe the Lutz fleet.
Mm-hmm.
But turns out this is exactly what Reuenthal wants because by having Yang's fleet mixed up with
flying
with our fleet.
Yeah, because the fleets are mixed up, they can't fire the main gun.
Yeah, exactly. Like, can't risk the friendly fire. And that lets Reuenthal start to close the distance. And we're all worried a bit. But then, thankfully, we got, motherfucking, big dick energy incarnate Schenkopp strolling in. And when Schenkopp's got that look on his face.
Schenkopp's got an idea.
That he's got an idea. And what an idea it is.
Yeah, so as the fleets get close, they launched the Hyperion from Iserlohn. Li, the flagship of Yang Wenli himself, Magician Yang, Miracle Yang.
And, oh my fucking god, Reuenthal, did you seriously fall for this?
He cannot resist the possibility of taking out Magician Yang himself.
Right, just... Oh my god! Like, is this not like the fucking second or third time at this point in the show they have sent out the Hyperion without Yang in it?
I know. And so funny.
And the fucking Empire falls for it every single time.
It's great. His reputation is so powerful.
Yeah. It's just like, oh my god! It's like here's the thing. I think any other Empire admiral would have fallen for this. I always thought Reuenthal would be the one. I always thought Reuenthal would be the one admiral in the entire Empire Admiralty who would not fall for the empty Hyperion trick.
Oh, but it fucking works.
Oh my god! Oh my god! I'm so glad this happened. Just because, like, no hating on Reuenthal himself. I think as a character he's super interesting, but I think in a ways up till now he was starting to suffer a bit from like Reinhard syndrome of like, he's like the quiet, like competent one.
Yeah.
Like, he's, like, always cool and under control, but we finally get to see a bit of him, like...
I think you're right, but also, he was never so cool and under control, I feel like, that he reached Reinhardt levels.
Sure. I wouldn't say he's, like, at that level, but I guess what I mean is I am glad we are fine. I guess what I mean is that, like, at the beginning, when Reinhard assembled his, like, his magical band of unbeatable admirals, right, it kind of gave off this vibe of, like, how could anybody hope to stop these admirals? They're the best admirals in the entire, like, Empire fleet.
Yeah.
Each and every single one of them is a force of nature unto themselves.
Right.
So, like, to kind of start to see them get bled out, even if it's just bit by bit, first with Kempf and then Mueller kind of getting fucked up. I'm glad it's happening because it's beginning to make the fights feel a little bit more believable, I guess, that at the very least the FPA is capable of putting up a fight against these admirals, Yeah.
Is Yang Wenli just going to go down the list like it's a fucking,
Right. I mean, I was going to say, I'm going to compare this like to the fucking tower in like Mortal Kombat or something.
Exactly. That's what I was trying to...
Yang Wenli making it up each floor of the pagoda.
Yeah. Exactly that. Okay, Yang Wenli, test your might.
Yes, exactly.
How many cups of alcohol can you drink before you pass out?
But yes. So long story short, Reuenthal, being the fool he is, overcommits his fleet to try and take out the Hyperion.
Hyperion just fucking rams into his flagship.
Or I don't think it's the Hyperion, right? I thought it was I think it was like the smaller like boarding ships, right?
Oh, it was it.
I think so. Like the Hyperion was basically just used to draw Reuenthal in, because I don't think Schenkopp boarded Reuenthal's ship with the Hyperion. I think he was like,
you're right.
On these like smaller attack. Well, anyways, as we're talking about, basically Reuenthal, being apparently the gullible dumbass he is, gets drawn into the slugfest with the Hyperion, which allows Schenkopp and his Rosenritter to board Reuenthal's ship and do what the Rosenritter do best. Which is run which is run headfirst into laser fire and just chop people to pieces.
The close range combat stuff in the show is so over the top.
It's so over the top, but it's also so good. I kind of love that. Like at first I was like, oh, okay, they're gonna go to melee because of like, Zephyr particles, right? They don't even bring out the Zephyr particles this time. The Empire dudes are just shooting.
Yep. They just fucking shoot, and Schenkopp runs at 6 guys who are shooting at him and just kills all of them.
Yes. It's so good. And, like, motherfucker doesn't even put his faceplate down. He runs out there with his fucking face out there, his gleaming smile as he's just chopping mofos up. So good. And
it gets to like the changing room or whatever where Reuenthal...
Yeah, the locker room, essentially.
Reuenthal's putting on some power armor for himself.
Yeah. And we have a bit here where Reuenthal's guards apparently have the fucking best aim in the world.
Right.
Because they land simultaneous fucking laser throat shots on Schenkopp's buddies. So it's Schenkopp versus...
and Schenkopp takes both of them down by himself. So.
Right. Like, not even breaking a sweat. But then when he goes on to finish off Reuenthal, we find out that there is in fact one other person in the entire galaxy who can maybe put up a fight against Schenkopp.
I would have pegged Mittermeyer as like the better close quarters
Yeah, totally. Like, if you ask me, like, maybe we'll save this topic for our season end podcast, but if you ask me, like, if you put like all the Legend of Galactic Heroes characters in like a fucking battle royale to the death, or like, you know, put them in like a 1v1, like, you know, fighting tournament or something, like, I'd say Schenkopp is like the uncontested like 1v1 combatant in all of Legend of the Galactic Heroes. And then, you know, probably closely followed by, you know, like a guy like Mittermeyer. But,
Louis Mashengo.
Or Louis Mashengo, yes. Or that one dude from that one episode who got caught in the Pokemon trap.
That's right.
Who, like, was fucking knee deep in corpses by the time they stopped him.
Yeah, Admiral Ovlasor, I think.
Yeah, Ovlasor, yes, that fucking dude.
That guy.
Oh my god. Yes, fucking... Remember Legend of the Galactic Heroes back then in season 1? Man.
Boy. Anytime do their stuff, it's great.
Yeah.
Because it's so different from every other part of the show.
Yes. But yeah, so it turns out that fucking Reuenthal is a goddamn ninja.
Yeah.
Fucking does a fucking backflip on Schenkopp and like
shoots his axe.
Yeah, shoots his axe out and like fucking forces them to get into a goddamn knife fight.
Yeah.
And like
hold his own for a while.
Yeah, he holds his own long enough for reinforcements to show up, which force Schenkopp to bail. Which you know, again, I think give it enough time, I think Schenkopp would have come out on top.
Yeah,
but
absolutely. I think so too. I was really like, of course, in retrospect, of course, it's going to end in a draw. But at the time, I was like, "Is this we're 40 episodes in? Is this going to be like the first like major loss since Kirky Eyes?" You know?
Yeah, totally. I mean, I think it could have gone either way, right? Like,
yeah, that's why I was like, "Oh shit."
Right, like think about like, you know, how much of a twist would be if just Reuenthal fucking drops dead this early on, just, you know, from a knife to the gut from Schenkopp or something, or go the other way if Reuenthal managed to somehow kill Schenkopp, right? Like to lose Schenkopp this early on in a huge blow to Yang Wenli. And but at the same time, I don't think it would have happened because I think Reuenthal's part in this story is not yet played out. Like we keep seeing those asides with Reuenthal kind of like grumbling under his teeth, or you know, just kind of like he definitely has some issues with Reinhard that he has not publicly voiced yet. And I think I'm not going to go as far as say Reuenthal is going to try and like throw a coup or betray Reinhard, but I wonder if
we're waiting for that shoe to drop.
Right. Yes, I wonder if there's going to be something that drives him to that point eventually, because he certainly doesn't like Reinhard that much. And I think we have yet to see that plot play out. But so Schenkopp bails. You know,
they drove away Reuenthal's fleet, basically.
Yes, they managed to drive away Reuenthal's fleet. You know, kind of in a ways, you know, both sides are once again caught at an impasse. You know, as I always talk about, sieges are kind of a mental game. You know, it's a lot of like who has the willpower and the grit to hold out longer. You know, who has the wherewithal and the self-awareness to know when to commit hard and when to pull back. Because, like, there is totally a version of this where either Reuenthal or Schenkopp overcommits, right? Mm-hmm. And there's a version of the story where Schenkopp sees Reuenthal's reinforcements come in and he stays in that fight and dies in the process. Or there's a version of this where, like, Reuenthal, well, there's a version of this where Reuenthal never falls for the plot in the first place. So.
Yeah, exactly. But and they ask Young, like, do you think you could take this guy, basically? And Yang Bin Yang goes into his whole spiel about how he's not really sure if he can take them.
Yeah, which I think is a really interesting thing, because that's Yang being Yang, but then I like Schenkopp being Schenkopp, where he's like, Yang, you can't fucking say that, because one of these days you're going to have to take on Reinhard himself. Reinhard is the Shao Kahn in this situation. He's waiting on the top floor. Like, if you start doubting yourself about taking on one of his lackeys,
how can you beat Shang Tsung? How can you beat Shao Kahn?
Right, exactly. So, long story short, bless Schenkopp for just being like the confident, aggressive one in Yang's corner, to be like, be like, nah, F that, man, you can take him.
Definitely.
But yes, then we get this good part here where Poplan is complaining about this battle while eating a hot dog.
They're in the galley or whatever, and he's just eating a fucking hot dog and drinking a can of beer.
Yeah, or not just a hot dog, hot dogs. We see that. Right, like gee, Poplan, why do you get 2 hot dogs? But
oh, Poplan.
But yes, but I do like the conversation he has with Konev.
Yeah.
Where Poplan's talking about how, great people like him, they often need someone to bounce ideas off of. And that's Konev's job. And and then Poplan kind of almost immediately also, like, in the same way that he is, like, the idiot wise man of the crew, he, like, immediately correctly guesses that that's what Yang needed Julian for.
Yeah, like, Julian was very important to just have someone to voice everything to.
Yeah,
in a somewhat less than official capacity.
Yeah, just like someone you don't have to feel the pressure of, like, they will professionally judge you for suggesting what you say. Like, and that was Julian. And, like, again, we see with Reinhard, that was Kirky Eyes. Like, without that person, like we don't even mean like an emotional confidant. I think we mean on this level like a confidant on the level where, like, not necessarily of similar rank, but like of similar
mind,
just somebody who you can bounce ideas off of, because, like, that confidant respects you enough and they like you enough that, like, they will never hold it against you for what you suggest. And as we see with, like, Yang, like, this battle is emotionally wearing on him because he doesn't have that person. You know, like not even Frederica can be that person for Yang Wenli. Like, not even a cat can do this for Yang Wenli.
Cat got left behind on Iserlohn.
Yes. Where we find Yang Wenli desperately trying to bounce ideas off of Julian's cat.
Walks off while in mid-sentence.
Right, to no avail.
Yeah.
But,
but then he gets called back to the bridge for the new offensive, and get some good old space fight and shit.
Yeah, we had a good space fight here. I think this fight is fine. It's not that interesting. Like, we see that the Empire keeps sending out these small harassment fleets to slowly take out the Iserlohn's, like, floating turrets. We have this kind of really great bid, though, where, like, Yang purposely, like, drops depth charges around on the surface of Iserlohn to, like, because the thing that the harassment fleets are doing is they're slowly shooting away at Iserlohn's, like, metallic ocean.
Yeah.
To get to the vulnerable, like, armor plating underneath. So, like, Yang drops some depth charges to, like, basically cause, like, a miniature, like, tsunami of sorts to, like, wash the metal ocean around to keep covering it. Which, that part I think is pretty ingenious. I like that bit a lot.
I just love the metal ocean as, like, a visual image.
It's so good. Like, it is one of the most, like, space opera ass parts of Legend of the Galactic Heroes. But yes, with this plan, with the fight going as it is,
stalemate the fight.
Honestly. Yeah, we finally have Reuenthal starting to back off from Iserlohn, and the episode ends with Reinhard being given the Casus Belli he needs to launch the rest of his fleet.
Yep. They officially called back for reinforcements. That can be said to be going to Iserlohn, but that can then detour towards Phezzan.
Yes. They're going to Iserlohn on paper to back up Reuenthal, but you and I, everybody, basically everybody other than the FPA leadership, knows where this is going.
Yep. And this is a silly detail, but okay, they've been building up to sickly Count guy doing something, but as all these ships launch and we get Hilda standing with Reinhard, and she thinks to herself, after all this, I should go visit Heinrich.
Yes. She's like, I wonder how my cousin is doing.
My weird cousin who is planning something.
Also, don't forget, #1 Mecklinger fan in the galaxy.
That's right. Baron Kunmel, I think.
Yes.
Whatever.
But so we start off with episode 44. We see Mittermeyer already heading towards the Phezzan corridor.
Yeah.
We have the interesting bit where the soldiers and the general rank and file don't know about this, which makes sense. I feel like a plane of this magnitude, you would want to keep to your highest.
Right.
Yes, it's your highest circle. It would leak, and it would leak in a way you don't want it to leak. Unlike all the other times you have purposely let things leak.
Some dude, some ensign would post on Twitter going to Phezzan.
Exactly, right. Like some ensign would take a selfie and location tag it to Phezzan corridor. And you're like, wait a minute, that doesn't seem right.
Hang on a second.
But yeah, so we find Mittermeyer reveals they're going to Phezzan, and we kind of cut to a Phezzani relay station where I love these dudes. I love these dudes with their fucking scouters.
Their Dragon Ball scouters. And the scout, detail, the eye plates on the scouters flip up.
Right. I really love that. I really love that because I feel like realistically wearing a scouter would actually be really annoying because having half your vision constantly colored green would actually be super debilitating. So just having that tiny smart detail of being able to flip the scouter back, it's a dumb minor thing, but I really do love that detail.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah. So they're like, wait, what's how big of a fleet are we talking about? Oh shit, it's
10,000, 3,000, 30,000.
Yeah, right. I mean, in a way, this bit is almost exactly it almost exactly is some fucking Dragon Ball shit, where they're fucking what does the scouter say about their power of their fleet? And just like Dragon Ball, once they get the full number, one of the Phezzani relay station dude gets so mad he breaks the scouter. 30,000 ships.
But
yes. So apparently, turns out Rubinsky actually totally got tricked by this. Rubinsky basically admits, I didn't think Reinhard would do this that soon.
Right.
And, we have Rupert.
Rupert's I guess you weren't that great, Adrian Rubinsky. You were only Landersher for 4 years. Your age is over, old man.
Right. So Rupert reveals his plan to overthrow Rubinsky. Not only does he pull a gun, but kind of starts to friggin' mentally and emotionally get frayed here.
His crazy eyes going.
Yeah, whereas Rubinsky is fucking cool as a cucumber. I kind of love it. There's a part of me that was up until the scene played out. I was like, shit, I can't tell if Rubinsky is actually completely in control here, or if he just has severely overestimated his own
right.
His own power.
And then his fucking Secret Service kicked down the mirror and just a one-way mirror and screwed up Rupert.
Yeah, they just fucking blast the shit out of him. We have a bit here where I kind of love where once again, obviously this is just good subtitling work, but there's a part here where Rubinsky is yes, as your father in quote unquote,
Right. Yeah, Rupert's mad that Adrian Rubinsky is calling him by his first name. Don't you dare say my name so casually.
Yeah.
Agent Rubinsky.
But yeah, and then we have a bit here where Rubinsky says, like, well, I don't actually know if this is true. In fact, I feel like this is just like this is just a retroactive self-justification that like narcissistic people in power say. But Rubinsky like drops a line where Rupert, if you'd only known your place, like, right. I would have, if you had just waited for your time, I would have made you, the Landeshar eventually.
I would have given it all to you.
Which, like, I don't know if that's necessarily true. I feel like guys like Rubinsky, like, if you look in history, like, people like Rubinsky tend to want to hold on to power until they drop dead.
Yeah.
Like, people like Rubinsky do not peacefully hand over power, quote unquote, when the time is right. But what can be said?
Yeah.
We do have a good bit here where Rubinsky does mention, like, when did you ever think that Dominique St. Clair, or whatever her name is,
right,
like, was on your side, right? Like, like, Rubinsky's been playing every angle since the start.
It's true.
And even if he lets Phezzan get invaded, he's still smart enough to know how to navigate out of this situation.
Yep. He says, just like Jobchernik did, I'm going to go into hiding.
Yes.
And just come back when everything's blown over.
Yeah. But yeah, so that happens, and then we cut to Julian, who has kind of got the right idea. Like, the Empire's here. Like, it's too late to stop them. They've already jammed communications. It's too late to even get the message out. So, like, all we can do now is damage control, and to do that, we're gonna take out the FPA data computers or whatever.
Right.
We're gonna kill the servers.
Steal all of our information.
Right. And, like, fucking God, the FPA is just so fucking shitty.
Everyone in this room is just like, oh no, what will we do?
Right. Or, like, you have the fucking, I don't even remember that dude's fucking name, the Reed Richards motherfucker. The
commissioner guy. The liaison.
I mean, I know he's the liaison, but I don't remember his name.
I don't either.
So we're just going to keep calling him the Reed Richards motherfucker. And he's like, you have this great bit where he's like, oh, God, I don't know what to do. And then Julian's like, we got to take out the fucking mainframe.
Yeah.
And then,
I don't take orders from you, kid.
Right, Reed Richards is like, I don't take orders from you. And fucking Julian's like, you're a fucking idiot. And then fucking on a dime, the Reed Richards motherfucker's like, oh, as long as you take blame for taking out the computers, okay? And it's like, oh my God, you guys are.
There's just really good bit here where Julian's like, well, if you don't like that, we could just let the Empire take all the information. Maybe they'll be lenient with you. Forgive it to them.
Yes, yes.
And he's like, really? Awesome. Nope. Yeah, I'll take responsibility. Let's erase all of it.
Yes. It's just at the end of the day, perhaps Julian's greatest skill is he knows how to deal with people. So Julian manages to take out the data and even sets up a pretty good booby trap here to buy some time.
Yeah, gets it done.
Yeah.
As he gets it done, everyone fucking bails on him.
Yes. There's this great bit where at the beginning when they first come to the FPA like embassy, like everybody, including like other FPA military personnel, are there, like all like huddling and whispering to each other, and like when Julian comes out of the server room and goes, "Hey, we took out the data," the room is fucking empty.
Yeah.
Other than the Reed Richards motherfucker.
Yeah.
Who apparently is too chicken shit to even flee, which I kind of love in and of itself as like a statement on that dude's character.
It's true. But yeah, but Julian and Mashengo take him with them.
Yes.
They acknowledge that he's chicken shit and will be a burden. But hey,
it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, and they go to charter a ship out of Phezzan.
Yes. And they charter it with none other than the very same smuggler captain who transported the boy Kaiser.
That's the same guy?
I think it's the same guy. Isn't it?
I want to say yes, but I have not confirmed.
I think it's the same old fat dude with the mustache, right? Like the only difference is he says like, but unfortunately this time I can't do it. But I know another captain who will do the job, right?
Like his pilot's missing or something.
Yeah, because his pilot went missing. Oh, right, because his pilot Konev. Wait, no, not that one. That was a. Oh, right, yes, they have. This is where we finally get the conversation where I think doesn't Julian mention that they know a Konev as well, or was that? Shoot, am I getting this mixed up with the prior trio of episodes?
Oh boy, I couldn't even tell you. Let's see. Sorry, I'm currently tabbing through old screen caps to see if it's the same ship.
All right. Well, regardless,
it's not the same ship.
What?
It's not the same ship.
Oh, is it not the same ship? Okay, my bad. All these old dudes with mustaches look the same to me.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Julian says, okay. Gets fucking straight here. The ship that's chartered to move the Kaiser is not this one, but this one is Boris Konev's ship.
Yes. Okay. That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah, and so they say, "Oh yeah, they my adopted father, Young Lee, knows Boris Konev. Oh, but
yes.
Boris Konev is on Highness right now, but I know another pilot."
Right, that's what happens. Yes. So long story short, they managed to charter a ship and a captain to get out of there. Meanwhile, we find out that Mittermeyer proves to be
all the Empire troops have occupied Phezzan, and they specifically say that he did not plunder anything from the private sector and kept everything running pretty much as it was.
Yeah. Essentially, they say that Mittermeyer proves to be a pretty able administrator of the planet. Yeah. You know, that he is fair and he is principled. And as we see with
and he also decreed that definitely don't rape and pillage. Definitely do not.
But yeah, so we find out that not only is Mittermeyer kind of like pretty fair about running the place, but he's true to his word. He says, if I catch anybody raping and pillaging, I'm gonna fucking kill them. You know, basically, like they will be executed.
Yeah, they will be
as criminals. Like no exceptions.
Yep, and follows through. You know, we go to cut to a public execution of these guys.
And I think this is good. You know, they execute. I guess it looks like 2 guys accused of raping and robbing a Phezzani woman. Yeah. Which, look, I think this is fine. I think this scene is good because I think I'm glad we are seeing that Mittermeyer. This is a good show on Mittermeyer's part. Like it shows that like he is at his core, he is a good and principled man. Yeah,
it's kind of I like how they handle Mittermeyer as a like good person who believes in bad things, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a good way to approach it.
He's totally loyal to Reinhard, even potentially blindly so, as we've seen, but also like clearly has moral guidelines.
Yes, I definitely agree with you there, Iro. That I think at its core, yes, Mittermeyer at its core, Mittermeyer is a good man. I wonder if we will start to see that, you know, for better or worse, though, that he does some pretty awful things for an awful regime. Yeah. But for now,
I wonder if he'll ever refuse an order on moral grounds.
Yes, you know? But it's hard to say because, like, you're right. Like, unlike Reuenthal, Mittermeyer is a loyalist, true and true. Like, he is very much the kind of dude who will do whatever the Kaiser, you know, not the Kaiser. Well, maybe they call it maybe they start to call him the Kaiser by the end of this episode. But he'll do whatever Reinhard commands him to do.
Yeah,
and I wonder if that will ever see that develop anywhere. Yeah. What I was actually going to say is, I don't think we needed to see it happening. That would have been gratuitous. I just think that I can't help but side eye a little bit at we caught 2 whole Empire soldiers accused of raping and looting, and like maybe we're lucky and we live in
To be clear, we're saying that there's probably way more, and not that these 2 didn't do it.
Right, that's what I'm saying, is that, look, maybe Legend of the Galactic Heroes exists in a more refined and civilized era, but when you study military history as much as I have, you also kind of learn about just how generally abominable soldiers often act under duress. especially to civilians of conquered territories.
Yeah.
You know, like, you only need to look at, like, freaking Germany, Russia, and Japan during World War II to kind of see, like, the kind of truly awful things soldiers will do to civilians, you know, when they're occupying territory.
Yeah.
And that is even with, like, commanding officers who are ostensibly saying, no, don't do that. Because no matter how strongly you try to enforce that, like, people are people, and people will often do terrible things regardless of the consequences that await them.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying, oh, we needed to see, like, Mittermeyer execute, like, 100 dudes for, like, raping and pillaging. But I think 2 is a weirdly small number for what is the occupation, like, the military occupation of an entire planet. Like, if that's meant to speak to, like, how capable of a leader Mittermeyer is, like, that's how, like, strongly, like, he
commands his loyalty of his troops.
Yeah, then I guess that's kind of a way to do it. To be like, oh, like, Mittermeyer is such a good leader. Only 2 troops in his entire army, you know, disobeyed his orders. But as a believability thing, I guess it feels a little bit off. But not enough for me to, like, really have an issue with it, because at the end of the day, what the scene does show is that, like, Mittermeyer's
the point of the scene is Mittermeyer is following through on his morals.
He makes good on his word, yes. Yeah. And I think I would like to believe that whether it was 2 soldiers or 100 soldiers or 1,000 soldiers that, like, disobeyed him,
he would have done it.
I think Mittermeyer would have seen it through, because that's the kind of person he is.
Yeah. We got a bit of his backstory as well, with two soldiers just talking about this out loud, like maybe 5 feet behind Mittermeyer. Yeah. Oh yeah, he when he was younger, he killed a man. He killed a noble-born who was doing this business, and because he angered the nobles, they put him in military prison and tried to kill him. But Reuenthal, his buddy Reuenthal, pulled some strings with Reinhard von Musel.
Yes,
got him free.
Yes. So, you know, we know now that turns out Mittermeyer's done some fucking time, so you know he's hardcore. Yeah, so with that ending, we kind of get a little bit of interesting development here, where we kind of cut to a Phezzan bar by the looks of it.
So it was kind of a weird scene because I didn't know who the hell this guy was supposed to be.
Right, we didn't really know where this was going until the final part, but even leading up to that, I did like this scene, because I kind of was glad to see this kind of as an example of, like, okay, like, Phezzan resistance does exist. Like,
right. Then just totally, like, roll over.
Right. Like, there's kind of, for better or worse, because of the Phezzan characters we are introduced to in this show, we kind of have, for better or worse, a rather, like, kind of low opinion of Phezzan, just because, you know, when most of the time at Phezzan is spent with, like, guys like Rubinsky and Rupert.
Right.
Like,
blackmailers and schemers.
Yeah, it's like you kind of forget that, oh, okay, like, there are people who are proud to be Phezzan, and that there are ideals and, like, principles that they consider, like, uniquely Phezzan that are worth fighting for, even against the Empire.
Yeah.
You know, and I can kind of appreciate that. And we finally find out that, oh, the, like, kind of revolutionary dude who keeps spouting all this stuff is actually our pilot.
Yeah, they come and say, hey, we got a job for you, buddy. And
yes, his job is to get some motherfuckers off this goddamn planet. So,
yep.
You know, we're definitely going to see how that goes.
And Reinhard makes his appearance on Phezzan, sparkling like the sparkly man he is.
Yeah, like, this fucking hair is sparkling in this scene, like some fucking.
I think this is the scene from the opening. Like,
maybe. It's some real Bishonen ass shit. Some real 90s Bishonen fucking shit.
Yeah.
But maybe a little bit less Bishonen is the part where people start shouting Sieg Kaiser.
Sieg mein Kaiser.
That's right, Sieg mein Kaiser. This is how the people are welcoming Reinhard von Lohengram to Phezzan. And
right.
You know, if you didn't if you weren't sure about where the Empire's primary, like, cultural like inspirations come from, You sure as hell know now.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, he drives over to the Landisher's office or whatever, and he did not get the data from the FPA's computers, but he's got navigational data from Phezzan's computers.
Right.
And so goes in alone to see all of FPA space at once.
Yes.
And think to himself that this is all we're gonna conquer all of this, Kirky Eyes.
If only Kirky Eyes were here.
Only Kirky Eyes were here.
But yeah, he finds out where Heinesen is and, sets his sights on it. And so we end this episode with Phezzan's rather quick and fairly peaceful occupation.
Yep. Yeah. And it's like, it's already the new year. Like they say that the UC 798 and Imperial 489 have moved on.
Yeah. And Operation Ragnarok continues to go on unimpeded. So we're kind of at a very interesting place now, because I think as we said at the start of this podcast, things are snowballing from here. Like, we've spent this entire time like rolling up to it, getting it ready, and now it's about to all start coming down. And very curious about how all the pieces that this show has so like lavishly spent time setting up are going to.
It's been a while. Like,
yeah,
a lot of setup for this offensive.
Yeah, totally. I'm very curious about what Julian's going to do in this part of the story, because
that's what I really want to see.
Because
I love Young, but him defending Iserlohn is whatever. We've seen it several times. I really want to see what Julian's going to do. Like, fleeing Phezzan, he says his goal is to meet up with Young, basically. But
yeah. But like, the thing is that, like, even then, what would that actually like accomplish? I guess, like, because here's the thing, like, I like Julian a lot, but I think this episode did bring to point an interesting wrinkle in Julian's story, which is how much can Julian actually change?
Yeah.
Like, he's not a general, he's not like a leader of state. Like, he doesn't actually have that much power, at least not now. Like, no matter how charismatic he is, no matter how easy it is for him to get people to like him,
right now he only's got potential power.
It's how much can he actually effectively change? Like I think a few podcasts ago, we were all wondering, like, well, how's Julian going to be able to like affect the Phezzan occupation? Like, is Julian going to organize the grassroots resistance? Turns out that's not happening. Like, is he going to be able to like delay the Empire in any way possible? And turns out that's not happening.
Yeah.
So, like, then what can Julian do? Like, is Julian's only purpose going to be to relay the message that the Empire are in the Phezzan corridor? But then the problem there is that who does he tell? If he tells Yang Wenli, what? Does he tell the FPA leadership, who continue to not believe him? Does he go to the FPA? Does he go to Heinesen? And he's like, hey, I got Reed Richards with me here. The FPA, the Empire is attacking through the Phezzan corridor. Like, knowing the FPA, they will probably just write him off. Be like, oh, you're just making stuff up.
Yeah.
Like, what can Julian actually hope to change, or what can he do?
I really want to know.
Yeah, so do I. I think on some level, all we can do at this point is just kind of speculate at what Julian might be able to do, because, like, up until this point, everybody we have seen in this show has had some degree of power. Like, even Yang Wenli at the start of Legend of the Galactic Heroes is still like he's a Commodore.
Yeah.
He has a rank. He has an officer's rank. Like, it's not a high rank, but like, ostensibly, it's a high enough rank where A, he can command men, and B, he is at a high enough level where when the commanding officer is taken out, he can take over. Like, from the very beginning of Legend of the Galactic Heroes, Yang Wenli was able to at least command one fleet.
Yeah.
Without even that much, like, because, like, I'd say, like, because in a way, like, I feel like the person who is, like, quote unquote lowest ranked that we still see a lot in Legend of the Galactic Heroes is like Schenkopp.
No,
like if you really think about
Poplan and Konev.
I guess you're right. Yes, but even then, like Poplan commands a fleet of like starfighters.
Yeah,
like I think like Poplan is like squad leader, right?
Yeah, but Schenkopp's the like whole company leader.
Yeah, but what I mean, well, I'm kind of just saying that even those two guys, like Poplan and Schenkopp,
right,
are still
relatively high up the chain.
Right, they're still relatively high up the chain in the sense where like there are still people that answer to them. Like even a guy like Poplan, who we might consider insignificant, still like he's not just one dude. He's not just one dude in a jet. He's technically a dude who commands like 50 jets.
Right.
And, like 50 jets can make a difference like in a battle. Same thing with like Schenkopp. Like Schenkopp might not command an entire fleet, but he at least commands like a pretty big
Ritter.
Right, he commands the Rosen Ritter, and as we've seen, like even just like 50 of those dudes can get a lot of work done. But like, what does Julian have? He has Louis Mashengo, and now he's got Reed Richards. Like, it's not that much to work with. So I'm very curious, like, are we going to see Julian like start to build up like a crew of people that will like allow him to like make some kind of impact on this war in a notable way? Or are we going to continue just kind of seeing like, what are the capabilities of one person in a space this wide?
Yeah. Yeah. It's going to be interesting 3 episodes next time.
I suppose so. Yeah. Yes.
Once again, Legend of Galactic Heroes has left me with no idea what's happening next.
Yes. Continues to be great at that, for sure. Just cannot wait for the next 3 episodes. But I suppose we could say that every week. So I think with that, we're going to call this one a podcast. It's going to wrap up here. Let's do some housekeeping as always.
Watch Legend of the Galactic Heroes on High Dive and VRV.
Correct. You can listen to our own podcast and read our content at theglorioblog.com. You can follow us on Twitter at theglorioblog. You can also listen to the podcast on iTunes and Podbean, and I think we're looking into other podcasting like aggregators. I don't know though. That's Gel's job. Speaking of Gel, you can also listen to our sister podcast, the GLORIO Chat, where we talk about anime that aired, more recently.
This week and not 30 years ago.
Yes. And you can also listen to the podcast on YouTube. If you just like Google Legend of the GLORIO Heroes, it'll probably turn up. Because we still don't have a YouTube URL, but maybe if some more people subscribe, we might be able to do that someday.
Comment, subscribe.
Yeah, all that good stuff. Tell your friends, tell your enemies, leave a good review. You know that y'all know the score.
You've been listening this long, you know already.
Yeah. But I think with that, that's gonna do it. Iro, do you have any closing thoughts?
I wonder if they're gonna go talk to Konev. I guess.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yes,
that's like the only path that I can see at the moment.
Yeah. I think Konev, like all the minor Legend of the Galactic Heroes characters we've seen so far, eventually they will have their part to play. But that'll have to wait for another time. So as always, thank you all for listening. Iro, thank you for accompanying me on this journey.
Thank you.
And as always, we will see you all next time amongst the Sea of Stars. I know you said we didn't want to do the battle royale talk, but I feel like I feel like I wish we had still talked about it a little bit more. I feel like especially because then we could have tied into a bit about Apex Legends.
Oh, well.
Like we could have been like, all right, like if Schenkopp, if they all drop in on like a big island, like is Yang Wen Li like the dude who like fucking runs around for like 5 minutes in an area and doesn't manage to get a single gun?
So like me most of the time.
Yeah, like, is Yang Wen Li the dude who's like, well, I managed to find 3 grenades in a backpack, and like 15 attachments, Whereas like Julian is like the dude who probably picks up like the starter pistol and then gets 3 kills with it in the first 10 minutes.
Yep.
Later. Schenkopp is the dude who manages to get like first blood, and he does it without a weapon.
He drops on a supply ship and beats everyone with his fists.
Yeah, just punches somebody to death.
Oh boy. Yeah.
Binfield, I feel like Binfield would probably like get a lot of kills, but he would also die super early. Like that's the kind of the vibe I get from Binfield. Binfield is like a dude who would drop into like the hottest area, like get a bunch of really good guns.
Who like plays 50 matches in an hour or whatever because he just keeps dropping on the hot zone and being killed instantly.
Yes, he's like the dude who shows up and you see his player card and he has like 70 kills, but like has never won, a battle royale match.
Yeah,
but that's fine because he's just in it to shoot people up.